Thank you very much, Rick, for this kind introduction and also for giving the opportunity to talk about Remedy4ALL, an exciting project that we're just started in the 1st of September. You mentioned translational science, so maybe a first word of introduction about EATRIS, the acronym, which is on the top right. EATRIS stands for the European Advanced Translational Research Infrastructure, and that is a mouthful, but we established 10 years ago, and we're a membership organization coordinating activities in Europe from Amsterdam, Coordination and Support Office. And we have 40 member states in Europe, member of our organization with 140 institutions. And we're creating access to translational medicine capacities and tools for researchers, for companies. And during these 10 years, we have also developed this access model. And this experience brought us today to repurposing as well. So I would like to share with you the philosophy, the vision and mission, if you will, of and some operational principles that we foresee over the next 5 years to develop with Remedy4ALL. So I think Rick's introduction clearly outlines the need and the interest for repurposing, driven by COVID, but maybe also given the scientific developments in the field. What we've seen within EATRIS, and myself personally, I'm scientific program manager within EATRIS, will be scientific officer for this project. But we have been working with academic institutions that are involved in repurposing. And I come from an industry background myself, where repurposing was not really high on the agenda because it was all about the new molecules and the innovation. And I think also in a way, academia also focuses on the newest publications, and repurposing is really a space where you have the MD and the PhDs, so the clinicians that are really driving such projects by high demand and medical need. But it has been picking up, and I think it has always been on the agenda, but it's fragmented. So if you are a clinician and you want to start this project, you have the knowledge, you have the materials, you have the patient organizations maybe also becoming more mature. But when you faced with the first bottleneck or the first challenge, the technical challenge, you often find out that it's as hard of a job as classical drug development, and that's owned by industry and perfected by industry. And you also discover that you need multiple disciplines tackling one problem. So there's no single entity that can do everything and solve all these problems. So you need teamwork, you need experts in pharmaceutical development, etc. So the Commission recognized this. The European Commission around 2 years ago issued this call, and we started working and developing a group of experts. And I think there's so many expertise and experience in this room. I see some faces that we've met over the last 2 years. It's great to see that Europe as a continent is putting this on the agenda. And this led to 2 projects being funded, Remedy4ALL and Repo4EU. We are representing Remedy4ALL with Beacon, EATRIS as organizations that you all know well, but with more partners, and I will show them later. And Repo4EU is led by a group in Maastricht, also in the Netherlands by coincidence. And the difference between the two, I might say, is Remedy4ALL will focus on the process and the ecosystem, the patient-centric process development, and Repo4EU seems to be, we have to get to learn each other as well, a little bit more on the systems biology approaches and disease paradigms, and pushing the science in the field of repurposing. And I think it's a nice choice, a complementary choice that ultimately needs to culminate in sustainable platform as well. So for us, it's important to focus on how we're going to organize this in an accessible ecosystem. So our vision is that we will create during these 5 years a research and innovation ecosystem that facilitates fast, cost-effective, and patient-centric development and implementation of repurposed medicine, focusing on a high unmet medical need and in any disease area. 4 long lines, and there's a lot in here to think about, but I think that it's good to realize we're a public organization, so we're not doing it for commercial benefit. But sometimes it may be that a commercial drive could lead to a success. So we need to think about those aspects. It also comes down to which projects are you going to support and how are you going to run the projects to make efficient use of resources, because there's only so much resources available, and also time is a factor. For REMEDi4ALL, the project, we have 2 main operational overarching goals. So the first one is to build a complete, visible and accessible value chain for patient-centric drug repurposing. So that means that the first 2 years will be heavily focused on constructing the platform. What is complete? Where do you start? We will have to find out, but we have some ideas and I show them later. Visible means that we're not going to do this in isolation. We will talk to the community. We will hear what are the bottlenecks. We will collaborate that, and we will also reach out during this project to start onboarding projects when we're ready for that. And also an accessible value chain. That means that it's not about just funding a project. We don't have funding ourselves. It's not just running a project and in isolation, but it's also creating a model to onboard projects. We will also use the experience of organizations like Beacon and EATRIS to develop a patient-centric process for that. The second operational goal is more related to the ecosystem and all the relevant voices that can make a difference. So to create a think tank that develops and also advances the policy and the policy debate. And whether that concerns bottlenecks, whether that concerns health economics issues, we will learn. I will personally learn a lot, but having this project recognized by the European Commission, I think is an important opportunity to impact the agenda. There is a couple of more practical operational objectives if we cut it down a little bit more into pieces. So as said, a fully operational, sustainable and accessible platform will be created. Also, as Rick mentioned already, the in silico tools that are developed by the community are a very powerful resource for drug repurposing, and we have a specific task in the project to build a catalog of those services to become available for the community. I've seen already a first inventory of a group, a partner in Finland, that lists over 120 of those tools that will be evaluated by the consortium, ranked on quality and on user friendliness and data quality to be made available to the community. We will also design and test and optimize the platform by running 4 demonstrator projects. And these projects have, I think, up to a third of the project resources involve 3 clinical projects. And these will be an important learning exercise, not only for the platform, but also for the community. We will engage with stakeholders and we'll perform networking through annual conference and also with international relationships. As said, the policy, we have a specific policy board. Even for that, we will advance the policy. And education and training is also an important aspect of this project. So what we will learn during the project, what knowledge is there in the community, to give a platform and to also train researchers, clinicians, patients, policymakers, and bring together the experts and regulators. And not to forget the funders, who also have a considerable in-house knowledge on repurposing. The final point I would like to highlight is the international aspect. So we, together with developing this platform, we also have been working with a global alliance involving institutions in Brazil, the US, and in India. And this is in a global alliance called Newfound, where we will also interact with during this project. So maybe now 2 short slides as a kind of intermezzo of how we can start working with this platform. The scientific starting points can be various. So how you construct a platform, it's not so easy where to start. Do you start with a long linear path? Because you can start with mechanistic data, a repurposing hypothesis in the lab, or it can be an animal model, which is not always the most predictive one. Or there can be human efficacy data, of course, that already hint you to a certain direction, and it's only the regulatory path that needs to be solved. In the end, it's all about cutting down those numbers, this big funnel, and pick out those compounds that have the biggest promise. But then, if you then again put yourself in the shoes of the clinician, if you will, or an organization, there are many complex challenges, like the pharmaceutical ones. Am I using the right dose, or do I need to adjust the dose? And that all of a sudden brings you back to square one, having to face a long, complex development trajectory. How about the drug exposure levels, etc.? Quality, safety, and efficacy asked by the regulators also asks more expertise than you can only bring with your own group, especially from the public side that we would like to support with this project. And how about access? There is a lot of information existing, but it's often also hidden in companies. So you need to build relationships. And I know people in the audience here are quite familiar with that and experience that it can take up to 2 years to get the people in the company also make it available to share those data. So here are a couple of very busy slides, and I apologize for that, but it outlines the framework and the structure, how we foresee REMEDi4ALL will take shape, at least as a project. So in the middle, you see the discovery and the development. These are reflecting the development phases, also present in industry. In fact, it's the general component. These will result into catalogs of services and capacities that will be made available to users. The practice is related to the policy changes that we foresee. On the left, there are some supporting work packages that will support the patient-centric onboarding, the operations, how will projects be onboarded, development plans will be created, and also the learnings from these projects and the training of the community will be handled there. And on the right, there's internationalization and project management and sustainability components. And you see a number of stakeholders on the bottom that are on the radar. And even more complex, how it all fits together. going back to the two operational goals. The first one is a pillar of assembling all those bricks and brains, and the line of circles is what we see as a concrete process that we're going to develop in the first year of the project. So we need to have clear how many projects we can support, how we will be running the onboarding process, the patient championing, and we need to experience how repurposing development teams with multiple disciplines can support those projects in creating development plans. So this morning I saw that for the 4 demonstrator projects, we have now dates in the first week of November to have really the kickoff of that process, where apart from those projects that already had a life before REMEDi4ALL started, hopefully can benefit from the additional expertise and partners that we have in the project. And those partners are diverse. You can see here, for instance, 9 research institutions, a total of 24 partners. Also a regulator from Germany, where scientific advice can be provided for a number of projects. And you see this is a very diverse, complementary set of partners that already have a vast experience in drug repurposing. As mentioned, also the policy board, and in the room is also Dan O'Connor, for instance, together with 2 other regulators, but also the health technology and the payers are represented. The international component is there. So, and we are still in discussion with confirming the European Commission and the EMA as representatives, because they need to maintain their independent role, of course, in this as well. But this gives a big opportunity to discuss the bottlenecks and possible solutions, and on an agenda with the European Commission. I have 2 more slides to go. This is a summary of the demonstrator projects, which will lead to a good exercise. And you see that the rationale for these choosing these 4 specific projects is the diversity in a way. So there's the development stage, a project on infectious disease and COVID, which will benefit from the earlier research and development work package services. And there's 3 clinical demonstrators, 1 on pancreatic cancer, 1 on multiple sulfatase deficiency, and 1 on osteogenesis imperfecta, also known to the community here. And we hope to make progress with this. We appreciate that these are complex endeavors, and that they will benefit the maturation of the platform. So the team came together a little over 2 weeks ago in Amsterdam. We had an inspiring kickoff meeting with, I think we're off to a good start. Maybe you recognize some faces here, and we were looking very much forward to work with you together as well. My final slide here is something that I was asked to put to your attention, and I think it's a good one, because I had the opportunity to review this course. When we're talking about translational science, when we're talking about education and training, this is an opportunity that will come out next week. It's the European Joint Programming on Rare Diseases. They have organized a 5-week online course that you can start at any time. So it's good to share with your community, and it's a great. It's not only for rare diseases. In fact, it's actually outlining the complete drug discovery and development process with contributions and videos from experts. So I would like to conclude with this because it's also close to the heart of EATRIS, who is coordinating REMEDi4ALL, and it will be an important part also, as Rick alluded to make drug repurposing also better. Yeah, and hopefully we can make the world a little bit better with these projects. This course also in week 2 has a specific component on repurposing that has been added, and includes also Rick, of course, his contribution. So this is it on behalf of REMEDi4ALL, and I'm looking forward to answering some questions if they are there.